Hey everybody, what's up? What's crack-a-lackin'? Hope everybody's having a good morning, or wherever you're at in the world. Somebody give me a 5 for 5, and yeah, we'll get going with this. Yeah, so obviously, guys, this is not a political channel, but I will say that prayers for everybody that's involved in all of this. Oh man, it's just yeah. Could have been so much worse. That's all I can say. And whatever your leanings are, please let's just not get in a fight in the chat today. Okay, I get how everybody can be a little bit how can I say this, a little. It's a very divisive subject, so that's what I'll say. And we're not going to do that here in the chat. It's just not the proper place for it. So, but with that being said, I do want everybody to understand that I do watch just like everybody else. You know, watch from a certain perspective, my perspective, and typically, I just try to keep that off of the Space Weather channel. So, you're welcome to talk about it and all that kind of stuff, but please don't fight. If we see the fight and it's going to go, we're not going to mess with that. Also, chat rules: no vulgarity. Cannot attack any other channel, even if you think I hate them. Okay, I don't hate anybody, by the way. Even if you don't think I like them, and you cannot attack people in the chat. Also, again, welcome to have any conversation you want, as long as it's civil discourse. Matter of fact, I actually encourage that because it does progress ideas, theories, whatever. Just learning altogether. But it has to stay civil. If it's not, it's going to get out of there real quick. And again, guys, mods, I'm going to talk to you here for a second. I'm going to be starting up a mod group, probably on Telegram. I'm not sure yet if it's going to. It'll probably most likely be on Telegram. So if you guys could, all my mods, anybody's listening to me, please email me. If you get a second, please email me so I can make sure that you're on that. Because, if anything's going on, like crazy stuff in the chat or whatever, we need to be able to talk about it and make sure everything's okay and all that. So if you could, email me. That way we can get a room set up there. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just jump into this. Guys, yeah, we had X-Flare. And here's the thing. I am still not sure if this thing produced a CME. I don't think it really did. Okay? Now, we've seen this before, right? I mean, I've shown you guys this so many times, but this particular sunspot is the one we've been watching all the way across, and it got a little active when it was over here. Then I think we kind of experienced that Earth-facing quiet phenomenon we see. Anytime we've seen multiple times, we get stuff happening right here in the Earth strike zone. You're out here in the middle of the sun, and when things rotate through that area, like sunspots, that's pretty much what I'm talking about here. Things seem to, at times, simmer down. Now, I don't know why that is, or if there's even any science behind it. I just don't know. But it's just an observation I've made, and actually, there's other people that, I didn't make up the term Earth-facing quiet. I heard that from somebody else. So, there's other people seeing it too. So anyway, this sunspot is very active, but I don't want us to let our guard down because we got this thing here flared, this one up here flared, we got this one cresting the limb flaring. Things are getting active, guys. Okay, that's why. Sorry, guys. Oh my God. Woo. Wow. Okay, so that is the X-Flare. I want to make sure you guys seen it right off the bat, and you can see, I mean, that's definitely a significant thing there. So let's go back here. This is NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, and what you're seeing here, guys, is X-ray. And this X-ray is most definitely, this is how we measure flares. When it gets to a certain level of X-ray, it goes. That's how they rate these flares. So we see M flare here, M flare here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 M flares. More are coming, I guarantee it. And this is an X flare. Anything gets to an R3 there, that's a radio blackout. Okay, an R3 is the start of X flare range. So this was not a very as X flares would go. This is actually on the low end of an X flare, but this was not impulsive either, not extremely. Okay, impulsive is more like well, see that little straight up and down? That would be an impulsive little flash, right? Whenever you get that tailing, like this taper off of the flare area there, that means it's a little bit more longer duration. Now, I've seen and I've shown you guys flares that lasted for over 3 hours. Okay, so we're talking from here to here is probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But I mean, it was already tailing off. What I'm saying is, when you get a longer duration flare, the chance of CMEs, solar storms, and stuff like that are so much greater. Okay, it's just for obvious reasons. I mean, it's really doing its thing, and if it keeps doing its thing, it can push more plasma out. So I'm still not sure if this produced a CME. Now, and I'm waiting on models to come in, okay? But if you go up here and you look, that happened probably, well, we can look exactly what time. Hold on a minute here. Let's see. Well, let's see here. Yeah, it happened at 2:34 UTC. Okay, this is Space Weather Prediction Center. Space Weather Prediction Center. SpaceWeather.com. It's Dr. Tony Phillips' page. Please go over and check this out. He's awesome. This page is awesome. I've actually never talked to the guy, but I just think it's real good work. So anyway, that's what time it happened, and it matches up with this. So I mean, but we've had a lot of flaring going on. Now that is starting to show up over here in the forecasting. Okay, they are saying a G1, but this time is already passed. Okay, why were they saying a G1 here? Well, we talked about this in my last stream. It's because of that coronal hole stream. So most likely, either that coronal hole stream wasn't moving as fast as what they thought, and it's still on its way, or it just isn't as powerful as it could have been. Which, density, speed, all that matters when we're talking about that. So, and if I scroll down here, look what's going on here. Now, there's a 60% chance for the next 3 days of M-class flares. I would even stick my neck out here and say it's going to be 100%. We're probably going to see more M flares because there's just so many sunspots flaring right now. The last one, I mean, look at this. You don't have to go very far to get into M-class range when the baseline is already close to that M threshold. You see what I'm saying there? So if this baseline was down here, it would take a little bit more of a flare to get us up here. So if we're already here, it doesn't take much. So and again, I mean, there's so much, they got so many more things that they can use and see that I just don't. So yeah, anyway, the official forecast is 60%. Now the X-class chance is 15. That's actually pretty significant too. So yeah. Let's see here. But hey Hilly, what's up, bud? Good to see you. Renee, everybody else sitting here. Good to see everybody. But yeah, I am sorry, guys. So anyway, I am going to get moving here. So, um, yeah. Now, the 15% chance, sorry about that, guys. I got a little distracted. I apologize. This is the sunspots right now. Look at these things. I mean, they're all over the place. And here's the biggest one, right? We've been waiting for these things to become unstable, right? And we'll take a little bit more closer look here in a second. Now, when I went up here just a second ago, right before, that's why I kind of got a little distracted. It does seem like we might be going up right now in geomagnetic activity, so we could be seeing the start of that solar hole, coronal hole stream right here. Um, yeah, that's what we could be seeing right there. But I don't know. Um, so we can go over here and look at the data, and I'm not going to waste too much time on this data. It's a very boring thing. Okay, you can see. Let's just change that back to 1 day. This is Discover, okay? This is our main source of seeing space weather data. Now, if I was looking at this, the first thing that grabs my eye is this back here, okay? This right here, the density went down really, really quick. Okay, I wouldn't say quick, because it's really not that far. You're going from about 2 to 0 here, right? The Sometimes we come over here and we look. This graph is showing us 0 to 100. I've even seen it say 0 to 1,000 if they think the density's got a possibility of being over 100. But what this does show us, the speed went up and the density went down all at the same time. That is pretty indicative of a coronal hole stream. Okay, we see that a lot when that happens. For the reason why is when things are moving faster, it pushes the particles away quicker and they tend to spread out. Okay, so when it hits our magnetosphere, it just kind of flushes on through. They're just not as condensed, it's just not as powerful. But when things are moving faster, the density goes down. Now, vice versa is true also. But it doesn't have to do that. Sometimes they both go up at the same time. Now, when it does go up at the same time, I tend to look at it like, hey, that could be a CME, right? So that's kind of where my mind was at. So I do think that this is probably a coronal hole stream that is starting to impact right here. And then the other thing that I seen was here. The BZ, we look for -6. Now, it's only at -4 right there, but see how it did drop into the negative from being in the positive? But look what else happened right here. That's the phi angle. That's the actual polarity of, guess what? The solar wind. So, that could actually be the hit. So, I'm just not really 100% sure. Now, our density does seem to be creeping back up a little bit here. Here on the end, and the speed's going down, which is exactly what the same kind of phenomenon I was just talking about a minute ago. Okay, so I'm not really 100% sure what's going on with that, if that's actually wherever the coronal hole stream did hit, but regardless, it hasn't put us into geomagnetic storm levels. Okay, it could. I mean, it still could. I'm not even saying but at this moment it's not. So let me show you guys the HP. Now, this is the German website I take you guys to. This is 30-minute increments. And see, now looking at this, I'm pretty confident back here that that's probably the coronal hole stream. Either that, it's a small little CME that we missed. We didn't know was coming. Okay? Yeah. So that most likely is probably that. Because it actually kind of matches up with the time frame, too, of when they actually expected it to hit. It's a little closer. That's what I'm saying. So, with that being said, yeah. So, there's that. Now, I do expect more hits. Okay? So, let me play this for you. This is the 131. Actually, I'll take you guys over here first. SDO, this is the satellite we're going to be looking from. It's in geosynchronistic orbit. stays over this part of our planet at all times. It orbits the Earth at 15 degrees an hour, just as fast as the Earth is rotating around its axis. Okay? So, with that being said, it stays over this part of our planet. But it rotates itself, so it always keeps its eye on the sun. This yellow line is the sight line to the sun. Okay? See how the satellite itself is actually rotating? It does that so it can still see the sun. Now, there are a couple seasons there where we get into where the Earth goes between the satellite and the sun. And we call that the SDO eclipse season. I think there's 2 of them a year. And the reason why is because of that same phenomenon, the geosynchronistic orbit. That's why it's doing this figure 8 pattern, to reduce the amount of time that's actually possible. Okay? But there's probably other reasons too why it's doing this figure 8 pattern. But the main reason in my mind is because it's trying to reduce that time of the eclipse season so we don't miss images. White sands. People have asked me, why is that white sands on there? Well, that's where the satellite's sending its data back to. Okay? So always keep that in mind. Now, if you want to see where it's at, as far as here, right? Yeah. So there you go. Let's go here. Now, this is extreme ultraviolet. This is a filter. It's on SDO, the satellite I just showed you. This is the 131 angstrom. Hey, thank you, Callie. Oh my gosh, I missed a whole bunch there. Sorry about that. The Terrible Truth gets the 10 memberships. Thank you. Woo, 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 woo. What else we got? Okay. Well, bless you back, Terrible Truth. I really appreciate it. Been a member for a month. Awesome. Awesome. So, has your icon color changed yet? Let's look. Did you make any other post in there? I'll look here in a minute when I get a roll call here in a minute, okay? Thank you guys, though. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, Callie. That's awesome. I like that little super sticker. Hey, that applies too, because my daughter had a thing last night. A color guard performance, and guess what? They got first. Heck yeah, baby. She was pumped. Loved it. So proud of her. So proud of her. Anyway, okay. So, SDO. Now, you guys see what I mean by hyperactive? Just watch. I mean, it doesn't quit flashing. This is a 1-day time lapse. Okay? It's like a, I don't know, it's like a disco ball or you know, somewhere where you're getting a bunch of pictures taken. It's just flashing. Now, I want everybody, you know, this is where a lot of the stuff's coming from right now. But check this one out over here, guys. Okay, this one's starting to flare too. Okay, and it's actually inside the strike zone. Do you see that? So, their things are active. Now, typically when we get X flares, a lot of times a lot of that energy will spread across the sun, and it will destabilize other parts of the sun to have it start flaring also. Okay? But yeah, so with that being said, that's a lot of flaring going on. You know, whole lot of flaring going on. Just kidding. But okay. Let's I tell you what we'll do now. Actually I do want to I want to stop that movie right there, because anybody that runs a YouTube channel, if you're running these little movie things in the background and you start having problems with buffering, shut those off until you got to show it to somebody, because it takes up a lot of bandwidth and it will slow you down big time. I've actually had to end streams because I wasn't smart enough to realize that at first. Okay, so, and this is our magnetosphere, just because we just got through talking about the coronal hole stream. It's just not nothing right now, guys. I mean, space weather isn't all that active at our planet except for the flares, okay? Remember, this is a good way to remember that a flare is different than a CME. And this thing is taking forever to load. What is going on with that? Okay, this one finally loaded. This is velocity, okay? Sun's off to the left. All right, so you can see our first point of contact with space weather is called our bow shock, as the first point of contact with our magnetic field, okay? So when space weather and our magnetic field meet, that's what we call the bow shock, right? So you can see that just to give you a reference. And you can see little waves coming in. Now these are not massive waves, okay? If you look at the color key up here, the dark reds are the faster moving colors, and the dark blues are the same speed as this, but moving in the opposite direction. Remember, we're talking about magnetics, so you got negative and positive involved. Negative draws towards positive, and vice versa. So sometimes it'll appear like we're getting these big old smacks in the back, and we kind of are, but it's because of that. You'll see it loop around. Now, I'm not saying we can't get cosmic rays and stuff from behind us. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that we get a lot of connection point events right here. Okay? So, there's just not much going on there, guys. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time showing you that because of that reason. What did I do with that? Okay. Let's see if this... Yeah, this is magnetic pressure. Everybody understands pressure, and you can see that not much, there's hardly any pressure right now. So, yeah. This is a geoelectric field model. This is their attempt at showing us space weather's effect on our unnatural electrical components. Okay? So what we're looking at here, as it's taking a minute to load, you can see it flashing. Canada didn't used to be involved in this, but they are now. They got the model working. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you the rest of the globe because this doesn't exist for the rest of the globe. It's only over here, okay? But I can show you roughly what's going on here. And nothing much is going on right now geomagnetically. So geoelectrically, which is what we're talking about here, this is geoelectric, not magnetic. Now, geomagnetism affects geoelectric, and that's why we see this move. But they're using this to try to help forecast earthquakes, okay? We all know they're trying to bridge that gap. We all know that space weather does affect earthquake and seismic activity, okay? Case in point, what just happened a couple days ago, right? We had a coronal hole that was rotating through, and then we started getting popped with those big earthquakes. Okay? So, and, you know, it's not every time, but the seismic activity does go up. We just don't know it or see it because we don't go look. It's very clear in the data if you actually go look, because you'll see reports around the globe of, you know, for instance, like, maybe a small earthquake in a place that they haven't had an earthquake in 50 years. You know what I'm saying? So those kinds of things don't really get in the forefront. So people they tend to think, well, nothing's going on. That's not always the case. Okay? It just isn't headline news worthy. That's why. Okay? So yeah, the geoelectric here is just not much going on, guys. You can see that. Okay, so anyway, it's just doing that, and again, this is showing space weather's effect on our unnatural electrical components, wires, switches, transformers, all of that, anything that has to do with the grid. So that's what I'll say. Hey, Miss V, I've been worried about you. I ain't seen you in a minute. Hey, Deepquake, what's happening? Good to see you, bud. Iowa, goddamn. Wow, guys, give me a roll call in there as I move on to the next subject here. But the first thing, as you guys give me that roll call, if you could, just a region. I don't want to know exactly. Please don't put exactly where you're at in my chat, because I mean, if you want to, you can, but I just don't do that to people because that's just not cool. But anyway, please give me a roll call if you would. I would much appreciate that. Just regional. Now, this is seeds. This is on Soho. this satellite right here. It's 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun than what we are, but it is right out in front of us. So it's from our perspective, right? Now, this thing was put out here to help detect CMEs. So down here is where they put the CME detections, right? As you can see, nothing really. They light it up in these colors depending on how wide the spread is of the CME. I'm not seeing any of those colors until back here on the 12th, right? So we've had all these flares. Where's the CMEs? I don't know that we've had very many of them. And if they are, they're really small. What I'm saying is that these flares are popping and we're not really getting CME action from it. And so what that means is geomagnetic storming, the chances for that are lowered because of that. Okay? Now, if I come over here to, again, I'm going to show you. Let's start here on the 10th. Okay? Now, the left image is a difference imaging. I show this one to you because it's got a good contrast of colors. It's kind of easier to see than what the red one is over here. The white circle is the actual surface of the sun. At least it's trying to represent that. This black circle and this red circle, it's an actual disc on the camera, okay, the imager, to block the main part of the light of the sun so it can get an image at all. Now, back here, there was a sun diver diving in. Guys, we've had multiple sun divers within the last week. Okay? Now, it isn't necessarily unnormal. Matter of fact, it's not, like, rare or anything. Most likely, we're going through a more cluttered part of space right now. So, but these comets, they will orbit the sun, right? Unless they dive into it. Or if they get too close, the solar wind will just eat it up. It'll be gone in a second, right? That's just what happens. The majority of these never make it to the surface. So if they don't make it to the surface and they actually make the trip around and go back out, they actually call those sun grazers, okay? But I talked about this full halo event right here the other day, right? And I'll pause it when it's right there, okay? Now that went off the backside, okay? I just want everybody to be sure that they know that. That went off the backside, and I talked about this at length in my, 2 live streams ago. So please just don't think that's coming at us, because it's not. We don't know what's exactly behind this occulter disc. That's why we're unsure at first, right? We got to go look at other models like SDO, right? We used to be able to look at Stereo A because it gave us a side view. We no longer get that. Stereo A hangs around our planet now. It's basically giving us the same perspective with just a slight skew to the west. And remember, when we're talking about space, east-west is backwards. You got to pretend you're standing on the sun. Thank you, Deep Quake. You're awesome, brother. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome. Deep, I'm not sure if I've ever asked you, do you have a YouTube channel? I need to look if you haven't. So let's go back here and look at the, hey, main girl, where are you from? Just kidding. New York, heck yeah, 51. Who gifted membership? Oh, Mama Sap, what's up? Who Deep Quake gave you that one, I think, maybe. We'll see. It was either Deep Quake or, excuse me. I'm sorry, I already forgot your screen name. I apologize for that. I hate that when I do that. I'm really bad about that too, guys. It's not intentional. It's just, I'm old. No, I'm just kidding. But it's never intentional, just so you know. I'm not sure who gifted that to you. Let's go up here and look. Let's try to figure it out here. Let's try to figure it out. Callie gave me the super chat. Okay, gifted membership was The Terrible Truth. That's right. TTT. Heck yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Northbound. Nice. What's up, Menacing? Let's see here. Connecticut. Yeah, it's hot out there. I heard that. Wow. But good to see you guys. And good, Miss V, it's so good to see you. I've been worried about you. I was getting ready to send Leisure a text to see if he had heard from you. Hadn't seen you in a minute. Michigan, baby. Michigan Kool-Aid. Love it. Terrible truth, baby. Heck yeah. Thanks again, man. Or woman. I'm not sure. Can't. If I misgendered you, I'm sorry. Please let me know if I did. I default to man. That's just what comes out of my mouth before I can think. But if I misgender you, let me know in the chat so I don't do it again. Okay. So anyway, that happened. Let's go the next day. This is the 11th. Again, not much going on, but I'm not sure if there's any sun divers on this images. I know there was like yesterday. We actually had a couple of them because they were very similar in their orbital path, which tends to lead me to think that it's coming from like a very active part of space. So, you know, sometimes guys, when these comets come through, the bigger ones, they'll leave debris. Okay, that's where a lot of our meteor showers come from when we pass through that area of space. So let's go to the 13th. And I'm looking over here because a lot of them come from this direction. Yep, there's one right there. I'll pause it here in a second. Come on, come on, come on. I'm not going to waste too much time because they're little dots. Yeah, I'm not even going to waste too much time showing you. If you guys come over here and look, they're right here. And they are very, very little. Now, I can't tell you how far away they are from the sun or how far away they are from Earth. So, therefore, I can't tell you how big they are. That's why. There's 93 million miles between us and the sun. And with that being said, they could be in any of that area. So, yeah. And I know you guys understand that. So, let's, the 14th, okay? This is with the X-flare. This is the day of the X-flare. This is a little while ago. Now, I do see some slower movers, but also, I'm seeing this up here. Watch. Right there. Now, that's probably either a filament release, and it could be, I think it's on the backside. Okay? But I don't think it's coming at us, just so you know. And when they get real thin and kind of oval like that, we tend to think filament release, which is a CME, but it just doesn't have that big long fan spread, okay, like a big central blast CME would have, right? So, yeah. So I don't think that X-flare produced a CME. At least I'm not seeing it. And if it did, it's going to be small because it's going to be directly behind this occulter disk. And it wouldn't have spread very far. So, yeah. I don't think that X-flare did any of that. Now, what it did do was hit us with a bunch of X-ray. Right? So what's that do? Causes radio blackouts. So let me pause this here. This is the D region. Okay? And it shows up as a bullseye on here when we get hit with flares. Watch what happens over here. Well, must be, yep. That right there is the X-flare. I just can't go back another 2 hours to show you the main brunt of it. So, that was the X-flare on its way down. Okay? But you can tell that by the timestamp here. Okay? But, yeah, but it also shows you that there's other flaring going on. Still. Okay? So, yeah, that's what's happening with that. Now, I'm not going to read these articles to you, but I am going to talk about a couple of them. Okay? The first thing I want to talk about is Starlink. Okay? 22 of the satellites, which is typically what they launch. When they launch something, one of the Falcon 9s, one of the Falcon rockets, they usually have 22 Starlink satellites on them. If you guys have ever watched a launch of one of those, they will say that. Most of the time they're saying 22. Now I've heard them talk 28 before, these kinds of things, right? But typically it's 22 of them. Because they put them up in there in almost like a string, right? anyway, they yeah, SpaceX had a rocket failure. One of the Falcon 9's engines had issues. So in other words, it got it out there, but they didn't get it into position enough. The satellites they're going to fall back to the Earth. Now, what's that look like? I'm going to show you right here just a little bit of it, and I'm not going to Matter of fact, I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm not even going to play the movie because I really want you guys to come over here and check it out. They did the work. They deserve the credit and the traffic. But these are Starlink satellites falling back to Earth. Okay. They don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but they're saying it's going to happen at any time. And when they do know, they'll come out and tell you. They always do. But yeah, I mean, we got, you got to think of it almost like a meteorite. So just so you understand what's going on there. I just wanted to mention it because it's 22 of them falling out of the sky. Now, we can look for more of this to happen as we keep putting satellites up there, guys. This is going to continue. It's not slowing down. We're in a different age now. And it would be remiss of us to think that, it was any different than that. Okay, so that one's going to go and do its thing, right? Now, I went a little long on my stream 2 days ago. And I didn't get a chance to talk about what one of the subjects I had in the title, and I apologize for that. I actually kind of brained it a little bit too, but I didn't have enough time to talk about it either anyway. But during our superstorm back in May, they had to steer a record-breaking 5,000 satellites back into their orbits. Okay? And I'm bringing this up because now we got satellites falling out, right? I was going to talk about this anyway. But the fact of the matter is, this is the stuff we can expect from now on. The more satellites we put up there, the more chances of the effects we have that can happen. Okay? So when we're talking about this, we always got to keep this in mind. And yes, that was the biggest solar storm that we've had in so many years, right? It was very, very significant. It was G5. I mean, it did a lot of stuff, right? And this is just one of them. I get a lot of times I get a lot of comments, well, that's just a nothing burger. Well, that's not a nothing burger, guys. I'm sorry. It's just not. Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it at that. 22 Starlink satellites falling out of the sky is not a nothing burger. So that's just what I'll say. Okay, let's see here. Now, so let me come back over here. So anyway, they had to break a record. They didn't have to break a record. They broke a record. Now, that record is probably going to keep getting broke as we move forward. Again, the more you put up there, the more of the chance we have mass amounts having to be steered back into place. Why do they need steered back into place when we get hit with solar weather, right? Space weather, CMEs. Well, the biggest reason is because of drag. When you start adding extra particles have mass, guys. We're not talking about light here. We're not talking about the flare, the X-ray, none of that. We're talking about the CME part, which is highly charged particles. Okay, it's plasma. What's plasma? Plasma is the fourth state of matter. You got solid, liquid, gas, and you got plasma. Plasma is nothing more than charged gas. Okay, particles. So when you throw a bunch of more particles in there, what's that? What's that do? Well, it adds drag. You can kind of think of it like when you go to the beach and you got to shuffle your feet through the sand instead of just walking on the top of it. You're increasing drag and you can feel that, but you can still get where you're going, right? That's kind of what's going on here. They just got to steer it back into place. So they had to do that with like 5,000 satellites. I'm just saying, that's a lot. You know, but again, we had a big G5 storm, so I wouldn't have really expected much less than that. So I just wanted to bring that out to you guys, let you guys see that one. Um, Guys, I may do another live stream later on tonight. Not sure. If I do a live stream, hey members, and thank you for everybody that's a member, and thank you for anybody who's been gifting memberships today. The Terrible Truth, Deep Quake, anybody else that joined up. Callie, thank you for the super chat. But if I do another live stream tonight, chances are I may do a members only right before. Okay? That way we can do a members only stream, talk, hang out, do whatever we're going to do with the members only. I'm thinking about putting a Zoom link in and maybe have some people call in and ask questions or whatever. I may do that, I may not. I'm just not really sure. I may not even do another stream tonight. I'm just going to keep watching this throughout the day and see what happens. But with that being said, that's the plan. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I got anything else to show you before I let you guys go. Yeah, one thing I will say, we can expect more activity. Now, again, the more and more flares we have, the more and more chance we have of these things hitting, getting CMEs. Okay, and a lot of these are facing Earth right now, so we got to pay attention. But anyway, if you're a member, please turn on your notifications. If you're not a member, please turn on your notifications. That's the best way for me to be able to let you guys know I'm going live. Okay. But again, guys, please, yeah, just come hang out and members only. We have a really good time over there, guys. I had Hilly on with me last time. I may even give him a call if I go early enough. I'm not going to do it to him like I did last time. We did a members only. He was with me. I brought him over, and I guess it was about the time he usually goes to bed when I started my stream. And I kind of felt bad about that. So thank you, Hilly. I really appreciate you, brother. For real. Oh, Texas News Station. Guys, get over and check them out, too. Mark does a really good job over there. He did a lot of good reporting on all this that happened yesterday. And obviously, guys, yes, please go check out Marfugel. Adam and Dex, they kill it every time. So, yeah. Please get out. Most of you guys already know those guys, so... but I am going to go ahead and pop off, guys. I'll probably see you guys a little bit later tonight. Thank you guys for showing up. Sorry no live stream last night, but I really did do that out of respect for people and our country because people needed to be paying attention to that. There wasn't nothing, emergent about space weather, so I wasn't going to take the attention away from that. What little attention I would have drawn, you know what I mean? So that's why. So... Anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves. And as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.